Welcome on to the show. I'm your host, Don Vic.
Co-host IG.
We in the building, baby. You already know what it is and what it could be and what it should be. So today we had a great show earlier today, right? We had a show with Izzy Lion all the way from Africa. Was on the show. He's an artist, great guy. And also want to send out a big shout out to Nigeria. All the towns out in Nigeria to show us love and send us support. We really appreciate you. And everyone else around the world that tunes into the Don Vic show. We send you guys shout outs. But today we have an amazing guest coming on the show as well. Thanks to the one and only Mike Wagner that hooked me up with this great gentleman by the name of Allen Gitlin. Yes, sir. So we're ready to bring him in. We're going to bring him in. We're going to talk to him and see what he got going on at this present day. So IG, bring on Mr. Allen Gitlin to the show. Allen, how you doing, brother?
All right, Don. What's going on, buddy?
All right, you're looking a little dark over there, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get closer to a light here. Hold on a second.
Okay.
How about that? That's a little better, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay.
How's that? Hold
That's
on a second.
awesome.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let's see if that right there. How's that?
That's
that good? All right.
Yeah, we see half of you. You're not completely in the middle, Allen. There
you go. There
awesome.
We go.
There you go.
Just had to stitch up right. That's all.
Okay. So, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming aboard.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Look who's our first. Look who our first viewer is.
Hey,
Mr. Wagner.
Welcome.
He did
Good
say
friend of mine, Mr. Mike Wagner.
Yes, he did say he was going to tune in. He wasn't lying.
Well, I'd rather him tune out than tune in, but that's besides the point.
Wait, this guy is a comedian.
Yeah, he is a comedian, so
okay.
he might
Yes, I am a comedian.
In there.
Yes. I'm an actor and a comedian and a podcast host, and I've been a podcast guest on many shows.
You do a lot from what we see on our side.
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you also script write, voice makeovers and stuff.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Well, let me tell you about some of my stuff, and it's pretty interesting. I think your people will be pretty entertained by some of the stuff that I've done.
Okay, go ahead. Go right ahead.
So one of the first things I did was I started my career somewhere around 2001. And then I didn't do anything for about 10 years. But anyway, in 2001, I did a commercial for the XFL Stacker 2 and WWE. Okay. It's a very interesting story. I live about 30 or 40 minutes outside New York City. I had a small agency at the time that got me this part in the commercial. There were 12 of us that all came from the same agency. And we had to be in New York City for 6 o'clock in the morning. And they drove us an hour up to Rockland County, New York. It was a December day. And we get up there, and there's 12 of us. We're all, I used to be a little heavy. I'm about 6'2", about 220 now. I used to be about 250. Wow. But anyway.
6'2", huh?
Yeah, maybe 6'3", whatever. I don't know. And so we get up there, and it's an hour ride from New York City. And we're going to this park in Rockland County, New York. And they say, listen, guys, before we shoot the commercial, you have a 35-page waiver that Mr. McMahon from WWE has made up with his lawyers, so you can't sue him because you're playing football in snow.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, okay, well, what's this waiver all about? And there's a big stack of paper, and it's all mumbo jumbo. It's all mumbo jumbo lawyer stuff, and so I, being a smart ass, I basically say to him, hey, what happens if you don't sign this? And they go, well, if you don't sign this, we drive you right back to New York City, and you're not in the commercial.
Wow.
And the commercial paid $2,000. So we all signed it. We had no idea what we signed, though, because we didn't have time to really read it,
Right.
And so this was pretty interesting. Back then, they were using a big VCR camera. and they start shooting a commercial. In the middle of the commercial, they run out of film. They and they couldn't get any film for it around the area, so they had to drive back into New York.
Wow.
While we were sitting in a nice restaurant having lunch. But this gets even better. So I don't know if anybody follows wrestling, but
Yes.
China and X-Pac were in a drunken stupor, and they were supposed to be there, and they got fired that day because they didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we played in the snow, and it was freezing that day. It was about maybe 2 or 3 inches, maybe 2 inches of snow on the ground. I don't know. It wasn't a lot of snow on the ground. And the XFL cheerleaders were in cheerleader costumes, freezing their butts off. Of course, those guys were loving it, but and the funny part is that they got fired, and we had to wait 10 months to get paid because Vince McMahon wouldn't sign off on the checks.
Holy crap.
10 months.
Yeah.
I mean, they got that type of money sitting right beside him.
Yeah. And they showed that in a local Channel 9, which is a local station here in New York, about 9,000 times advertising for the XFL and Stacker too.
Wow.
And it was just amazing. And we kept bugging. We all came from the same agency, and it was a small agency. And the lady said, "Listen, I don't have 25 grand to lay out. It's going to kill my business."
Mhm.
And she finally, I guess, she bugged Vince. As we were bugging her, she was bugging WWE. And finally, I guess they gave it to her. Finally, but it's kind of weird though. But it's a kind of funny story though, but a good story.
Yeah. Wow. 10 months. That's crazy.
And so right after that, not too long after that, I did a commercial for a show that was going to be on A&E and cable called Investigative Reporter, and it was with Joan London and this guy Bob Smith. And it was shot in Seton Hall University in New Jersey in East Orange or West Orange. I'm not sure exactly. One of the oranges. They're very close together in New Jersey anyway. And they did a take about something about around a coffee table, and they couldn't get it right. And it took about 25 times to do this commercial. And Joan Linden stood up and said, "I just want you to know you extras are great. Us professionals suck." And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
That she was, we just couldn't get the right. They took like 25 or 30 takes of this one scene, and they just couldn't get it right for some reason, and I thought that was so cool. And after that, I took a little break. I had a job that I really couldn't get away from too much, so I kind of left my career on hold for a little while. And then I got into Caroline's Comedy School around 2010. I saw an ad. All my friends told me I was funny and that I tell great stories. And Mike knows this if he's listening.
Yeah, he's listening.
And so I took a course in Caroline's Comedy School. It was 10 weeks, one night a week for about 2 hours. And Caroline's is a famous comedy club in New York City. Okay. And so it's probably one of the most famous ones in New York City, actually. And so they can't critique your writing. They just, they try to critique your writing a little bit. They can't say you're not funny because everybody's sense of humor is a little different.
Right.
And they try to get you used to stage time. There were about 20 people in our class. And I almost got thrown out of every class because I was critiquing everybody's writing. And the teacher kept yelling at me, "Allen, that's my job. Shut up. I'm going to throw you out of this class." And the teacher was this lady called Liz Smith, who wrote at one time for Jay Leno and Letterman at one time, and decided she wanted to come back east. And she hooked up with Caroline's, and then she was their comedy school teacher. And at the end of the class, we had a night where we had a showcase. We had 2 showcases, one at 8 o'clock and one at 10 o'clock. There were roughly about 150 people at the first showcase. And before the showcase, we're all doing our acts and, practicing our acts. And she had a list of how we were going. And I'm fourth on the list. And she comes up to me and she says, "Allen, I got some good news and some bad news for you."
Mm.
And I said, "Liz, tell me the bad news first." She said, "You're first. The other 3 didn't show up." So then I say to her,
That was the bad news. Holy crap.
where we at? So then I said, well, tell me the good news. And she says, you're first. So my jaw drops to the floor. And as I'm practicing my act, one of the guys in the showcase comes up to me and says, hey, Alan, you got a joke that's similar to mine. If you do it, my whole act's going to go out the window. So me being a nice guy, as I am, I think I am anyway, I go, okay, I won't tell that joke. So I get up on stage and I'm going through my act. I'm a nervous wreck because I've never been on stage before in front of 150 people. And I'm standing on a mic cord. I'm getting the audience involved, and they're laughing at my jokes. And I get to that joke, and I go, "Oh crap, I can't do it." And I have 2.5 minutes left of my act, of a 5-minute act, and I go blank. I completely go blank.
Oh God.
But I go to the crowd and I said, "Listen, I'm a little nervous. First time up here. I forgot some of my act," and they went crazy. They thought it was very nice that I kind of admitted to that, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the girls from the second showcase was standing behind me, behind the curtain, and she said, "Just go with it." And the rest of my act just came back, and it was the longest 5 minutes of my life, of course. You know, and as much as I am wacky, I came up with an idea about 2 weeks before the class ended. I had a friend that used to own a small trophy shop in New Jersey, and I said, "Listen, why don't we get her a plaque with her name on it, best comedy school teacher of the year, and we'll all put our names on it, and we'll chip in like $5 each." And I think I put in an extra 15 or 20 bucks or something to make whatever it came out to. And at the end of the first showcase, I gave it to her, and she broke down crying that nobody ever thought of doing something like that before.
Oh, that was nice of you.
So, you know,
That was
so as
nice.
nutty as I am, and I like to have a lot of fun, I think I got a pretty good heart, you know. And that started my career. That started my career going again. You know, I played a few small clubs in Jersey after that in comedy, and then I started applying for some movie extra parts, and I got one. I got an extra part in a movie called The Bounty Hunter with Jennifer Aniston and Bradley Cooper. It's been on TV many times. Huh?
I was going to ask you about that movie, The Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was part of it was shot in Monmouth Park Racetrack in New Jersey, which is about 40 minutes or a half hour from my house. And I was an extra in there. There was a lot of extras. And somewhere along the line, it came to lunchtime, and Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Aniston went to lunch. I don't know what they did, if they went to a motel or they got drunk or what. But when she came back, I was sitting 3 rows behind her in the stands. And it was a line like, "Quit chasing me," and she couldn't do it. She just couldn't remember the line. You know, so I don't know if they went to a hotel or they got drunk or what. I have no idea, but I knew the line better than her actually after 30 or 40 takes. You know,
Really?
yeah.
It was
She
a
just
small line like that?
Yeah, she just couldn't remember the line. I don't get it. I honestly don't know what went on there. You know, she just couldn't remember the line. So,
You also you also wrote a script that has to
Yep.
do. It was in the 80s, using no technology.
Yeah, I have a script that I wrote called Adam Goldsmith Private Eye. I'm waiting for COVID to completely end. I have a friend in Chicago that has a small studio,
Okay.
and we became friends online, and he really believes in my project, and he has some connections in LA. It's about a detective who's a cross between James Bond and Columbo.
Wow.
He wants to live back in the 80s. He wants to live back in the 80s before technology took over. He's James Bond. He's Columbo because he figures stuff out with his gut.
Right.
And he's James Bond because he's betting everything in sight, including the secretary who has knee pads in her drawer. So it's a comedy drama, and I'm a big Law and Order guy. And in there's 8 episodes written, which is a whole season. I had a partner, but he stepped away since. And I like Law and Order when Jerry Orbach was on it because he always had a stupid line in it. So in every episode, there is a line that should make you laugh, hopefully. Like there's one episode where we find a guy half eaten up in the ocean by a shark, and we say he made good shark meat. So we have actors in place. We've had them in place now for about 2 years. Hopefully they'll be around. If not, we'll have to get more. But we're going to shoot a trailer, and we think it'll go on streaming for Amazon or Hulu or something like that, or Roku, something like that. Okay. So that's my big baby. It's been sitting for about 4 or 5 years. On paper, it sat for 4 or 5 years. Then I had a guy who I was partners with. He had a script software, and we put it on paper. And now it's been sitting a couple of years because of COVID, only because we're going to do the trailer. My friend has a small studio in Chicago. So we're going to outside Chicago. So we're going to shoot a trailer eventually. Probably 1 day trailer, probably.
Right. So
half hour.
Where do you think about shooting it? Where do you think about shooting it at? In Chicago or?
Well, he lives outside Chicago. I think it's La Plaine or La Prairie, Chicago. Yeah. And he's just chomping at the bit for me to get there. But COVID's held all this up, which has held up a lot of things, So well, he's got his small studios in Chicago.
Okay. And he's a filmmaker as well, or
he does. Matter of fact, I will try to get him to you because he's a rapper, he's an actor, he's he's got his own little studio. He's a jack of all trades. He's been on Mike's show actually. Yes.
Really? We love rappers over here. That's what one of our
he does a little bit of everything. This guy.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
So we also know you have a podcast. Tell the viewers what your podcast's about.
Okay, yeah. I have a podcast with a friend of mine. We met on a train.
Steph?
Huh? Yes, Steph.
Okay.
Yes. We met on a train ride coming back from Chicago, both of us. He was coming back from LA. We met on a train in Chicago. And there's a funny story about that, and I'd be glad to tell it if you'd like.
You just got funny stories, Allen.
Well, this is a true story. We were on this train coming back from Chicago, and you can't make this up. You really can't. So while we're in the Chicago train station, there's a Chinese guy running around the train station. I got to get on the train. I can't miss this train. And we find out that he's got a box in a box, and it's not taped up, and they won't let it on the train. So the Amtrak lady, after about 45 minutes of this, says, you know what? I'm tired of listening to you, man. I'm going to tape this box up with Amtrak tape. So she does. And we get on the train, and he ends up in our car. There's about 10 or 12 people from the New York area, Albany, Buffalo, New York City, Queens, Jersey. We all end up around the same place, and we're all having fun and joking around. And this guy's running up and down the car. We don't know what's going on. We're just not even paying attention to him. We're just telling jokes and, hey, where you from? Where you going? And it's about 11 o'clock at night, and we're in Cleveland, Ohio. And I decided, well, I didn't decide. I had to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and I open the bathroom door, and it reeks. Now, this is 4 years ago. It reeks of marijuana. I mean, it just, like, somebody smoked a couple of joints in there, and there's no place for it to go, and he shut the door, apparently. And he's sitting in the back of the car with the conductor. And I go back and tell everybody that's with me, and they're laughing. What idiot would do that? It's got no place to go. And we go to sleep. And next morning, we're in Buffalo, New York, and it's about 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. And the conductor gets on the PA and says, listen, when we pull into Buffalo, the Border Patrol is doing a spot check on IDs. And we're like, okay, whatever. And there's about 20 people in our car. And he says, everybody's going to have to get off and show your IDs, and then you're going to get back on. Well, we pull into Buffalo, New York, and we see Homeland Security. We see Buffalo Police. We see the Amtrak Police.
Wow.
And I think somebody else was there. We don't even remember who else was there. And so we're like, what the hell's going on here? And we get off, the 20 of us in our car, and we notice nobody else is getting off but us.
What's going on?
We're like, what the hell's going on? So they check a couple of IDs, and they let everybody back on, except for the Chinese guy. They say, you're not getting back on. We're taking your luggage and your box off. Wow. And so we pull out, and we pull out, and we get to Albany, which is the next stop. And they say it's a 20-minute rest stop, and you can get something decent food because the food on the train is not that great. and rest your legs a little bit, whatever, walk around if you want. And as we're getting off, the conductor says, "You know what happened to that guy?" And we go, "No, what happened?" He got arrested. He got arrested for what? In that box that she taped up for him, the Amtrak lady, was a 3-pound brick of marijuana.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Now he went from Illinois to Ohio, and now he's in New York, across state lines. That's a federal offense back then,
Right.
4 years ago. So he got arrested. We don't know where he is actually, but
Wow.
if he hadn't smoked the joint the night before, he probably would never got arrested.
Yeah, wow.
So, and you can't make that story up. You can't. And from that, I met this guy, Steph, who was on the train with us, and we became friends after that. And he has interviewed me. He used to have he's a big YouTuber, and he interviewed me a couple of times. And we came up with this about a year ago, a podcast.
Okay.
We developed it ourselves. He's the techie guy. I'm the mouth of the East, as we call me. I'm the G man. He's Steph, but he chimes in too. And we developed we have idioms for idiots, if you know what an idiom is. And if people in your audience don't know, it's things that you say every day that people don't know where they came from or where to say. Like, let's say we had one a couple weeks ago. Step on a crack, break your mother's back. Now, how does that equate? Stepping on a crack and breaking your mother's back. And why would you do that? You hate your mother that much or what?
Wow.
So we analyze 15 or 20 of them every week. We also have, I'm a big sports fan, so we have sports stupidism. Some of these sportscasters say some stupid things, or these sports shows that we have in New York say some stupid things. We have everyday annoyances, things you don't pay attention to, like gas is $3.99.9. Really, it's $4. Come on, who you kidding?
It's actually $4.09 out here.
Yeah. I mean, but who you kidding here? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Or we see things every day that annoy you. You know, like I went into a Jersey Mike's. I don't know if they have them in Boston.
Yeah, we got one.
Okay, so I went there a couple weeks ago. I ordered sandwiches. Now I'm going to say it was 12:30 in the afternoon, and the sandwich came to $8.90. I give the girl $10, and she says, "I got to give you back $1.10 in dimes because I have no cash." What? It's 12:30 in the afternoon. How do you not have any dollars to give me back?
Right.
You know. So if I gave you a 20, you would give me what? $11 back in quarters?
Holy crap!
I mean, what the hell?
Like jingle.
So that's what I call everyday annoyance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things that annoy you every day that you pay no attention to. And then we have I've been divorced for about 14 years, so I've been on and off online dating, and I have what I call online dating nightmares.
Oh.
First dates, second dates, third dates, no dates, whatever. And then we have 15 Minutes of Shame, which is about what's going on in the world as we see it, and the country as we see it. You know, things that are embarrassing people in New York. You know, subway systems are terrible in New York. There's bums everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the governor who got kicked out pretty much for fondling people. You know,
Yeah.
We're not fond of Mr. Joey Biden. You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
We got names for Joey backwards buffoon Biden. We got Kamala Hooker Harris. We got the brain dead bartender, which is AOC. We got Governor Cuomo with a homo. We don't mean to pick on gay guys. We don't mean to pick on gay guys.
Right. We saw the it was something written on the back of a car. It says, "If you voted for Biden, follow me and pay for my gas."
I saw that today online, actually, Facebook. Yeah. I saw that on Facebook today, actually. Yeah, I like that actually. So you know. So and you know, I've done a lot of stuff. I've been in a lot of stuff. If some of your followers know who Little TJ is, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, Little TJ. Yeah, you played a judge in that video, music video.
Yes, right. And I have a story about that even. Okay.
Oh,
so everything I do, I always have a story about, because I make myself known to everybody. You know, I have business cards. I give it out. In my opinion, that's acting 101. You know, but Lil TJ, I was on the bench with the gavel, and he was in the witness box, and I said, "Lil TJ, you're getting off here, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you're talking to everybody but the judge, man." And he goes, "Man, you're freaking nuts." And so I drove for Lyft for a couple of years part-time after I did this music video, I mean. And when I saw a young person in the car, I said, hey, you know who little TJ is? Yeah, yeah. You know the video FN? Yeah, yeah. Well, look at the last minute and a half of it. And they go, oh my God, Mr. Judge, oh my God, can I take your picture? Can I put you on TikTok? Can I go to Instagram? I got, you know,
that's awesome.
They were amazed that they were sitting, the judge was driving them around actually, you know, you know, and, you know, I just have fun with this. I have fun with everything I do. I really do. Any set I've been on, I always had fun with.
Yeah, and people should do that. Have fun with what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, I tell people, you know, I started my career a little later than most people.
Yeah,
I didn't start till I was around, let's see, got to be close to 50, close to me. Yeah, really, yeah, because right now I'm about 69 years old. So,
he said I'm about 69.
Yeah, give or take a couple of months.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what couple though, but anyway. So when I meet young people on the set, I tell them, listen, the dreams of you being a star, that's a nice dream to have, okay? But there's 9,000 actors and 8,000 are starving. I said, have some fun, make a little money. You never know who you meet along the way.
That's right.
You know, network. That's important.
That's what I say all the time. I tell them all the time. That's what we do. We network. We go to big events. We meet people. Right. We introduce ourselves. We bring them on the show.
Right.
And, you know, we make connections.
Yep. So,
and that's why our show is the way it is. We have all types of people from like yourself, comedian, actors, actresses, directors, co-producers, co-directors, writers, all types of people.
Book writers,
been on this on our show, and that's collaborating and meeting people.
Right. So one of the things I did, matter of fact, it just came up the other. Matter of fact, we were just talking about the other day, me and Steph last week. I was on a show called Murder Castle, which is a mini series, and this is really interesting if you're into this kind of stuff. This guy, it's a story about a guy, H.H. Holmes, who was the first documented serial killer in the United States.
Whoa.
During the 1890s, he built a house with 25 rooms. He fired 7 contractors because they found out that all these rooms were gassed and went nowhere. And this guy was a pharmacist, and it was a mini series. It's a mini series on Discovery Plus. If anybody wants to look at it, it's called Murder Castle. It was shot in 2017.
What is it called again?
Murder Castle.
Murder Castle. Murder
Castle.
Castle.
Yeah, it's a story of H.H. Holmes, and this guy, what he did was he was a pharmacist, and he would hire technicians. A lot of, you know, during the Chicago World's Fair in 1890s, a lot of people were coming to Chicago and disappear, and nobody knew where they went. You know, it was a big hustle bustle, you know, and so he would hire technicians, and if he liked a woman, he would fall in love with them, and then lock them in a room and gas them and take the body. Every room had like a chute. He'd shove the bodies down a chute to his basement and sell the dead bodies as cadavers to medical school.
Wow.
Not only did he do that, but if say a woman came with her husband, came with her husband and they were out of work, a lot of people were out of work then, you know, in the 1890s. So he'd say, listen, you come live with here too. And, you know, I'll work out something with your rent. And he'd kill the guy and the girl, or he'd tell the guy, listen, here's some money, get lost, you know. I'll take care of your wife for you, whatever. And he admitted to 25 people, but they think he might have killed 50.
That's insane.
Yeah. And how he got caught was some of their relatives, like when somebody would come and say, what happened to the last technician? He would say, oh, they went back home. They didn't like the big city, or they went home to get married or something like that. Right. And they kept going to the Chicago Police Department. This one detective was taking the cases and realized that the last place they saw these people was at this guy's pharmacy. Right. And he had a wife and child that lived outside Chicago.
Mm.
But he eventually got caught. And in this thing, I play a lot of extra parts. But at the last scene, I put the noose over his head and kicked the box out from underneath him. And it took him 20 minutes for this guy to die.
Wow.
And this is a true story. This is true. There's a lot of movies made about this guy. If you're into that kind of stuff, it's really, I didn't know anything about this guy until I was in this miniseries. And then I looked it up, and I was kind of really interesting, cool. You know?
Yeah, we definitely gonna take a look at it. I love scary movies like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It
Yeah.
was a real cool thing, you know. So that was a cool thing. You know, I've been in a lot of good stuff. You know, I was in this other thing for NBC, Disappeared, where at the time I was living in Florida for a couple of years, but this was shown in Chicago, I believe, about this lady who moved from Cleveland to Florida. She always wanted to go around the world on a boat. Some guy had an ad in the paper, and she answered the ad, and she falls in love with the guy and sells all her belongings and everything, and goes on a cruise with him. And 3 months later, she disappears.
Wow.
And her kids start to research this guy, and they find out that he just got out of like a 10 or 12-year prison term in England for stealing money and laundering and all, and drugs and all kinds of shit. You know, and everything he has is really smoke and mirrors, you know. And they finally get in touch with this guy, and he says, listen, you know, your mother and I had a big fight, and she left me, and I don't know what happened to her after that. But this guy had copies of all her credit cards and her debit cards, and he was sending people to take money out of her account, paying them to take money out of her account. And I play a detective in that, and we catch these two young girls, and he gives us a couple $100 every time we take money out. And they track the boat to a lot of different islands. And every time they go to find the guy or track him down, he goes to islands where there's no restitution, you know, where they can't get a hold of him. And then he finally sells the boat, and the woman was never found. They think that he killed her and wrapped her up in a rug or something and put weights on it, and it's on the bottom of the ocean somewhere.
Wow.
She was never found. So I played a detective in that, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty interesting story, how this woman got hoodwinked into this and never was found after that. They don't really know what happened, you know?
Wow.
So kind of interesting. Yeah.
And what do you love most about it? The acting roles.
I just have fun with it. I really do. I go into it with an open mind, and I like being an extra. I don't want to be a star. I that's not my thing. I don't know if you guys know who Scatman Crothers was, but Scatman Crothers was a black gentleman who played jazz in the 30s or early 40s. And one day, one of his friends came up to him and said, "Hey, would you play a part in a movie? My friend has a small little part, and he needs somebody to play a butler." And Scatman Crothers from that was in 100 and I believe 25 films through his career.
Wow.
I think he died in the late 90s. But he was, if you saw him, you know who he is, but you wouldn't know his name.
Okay.
He was in Throw Mamas from the Train. He was in I think one of the Apes movies. He was in all kinds of stuff. If you saw him, you'd say, "Oh, I know who that guy." He was in Blazing and Saddles.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of stuff for like 2 minutes and made a career out of it. You know, and that's what I always said. I want to be like him, always working. He worked a couple of movies a year, and when he wasn't working, he played in a jazz club because he was a jazz musician. So, you know, and then he'd go on set for a month or two or whatever, and you know, then maybe 6 or 8 months later, somebody would say, "Hey, you know, we got a small part, you know, that we need somebody, you know, for a couple of minutes," and he'd be in it. Boom, you know. And if you look him up, you'll see he was in like 125 films, something like that, you know. And if you see him, you're going to say, "Oh, I know who that guy was," but you never knew his name though. So that's what I want to do. I don't want to be a star. I just want to have a good time. I want to do extra work, be on set and work all the time. That's what I want to do. I'm having fun with it, you know?
Right. Have you ever wanted a role in a movie and didn't get the role?
Yeah, I've had a few auditions where I thought I did real well and didn't get it. Yeah. It doesn't bum me out. That's part of the process.
Right.
You know. And a lot of times I tell people now, "Really, you want me to audition for a 2-minute part, 3-minute part?" After being, you know, I got like my list of laundry is long now, you know. I've been in a lot of stuff. I've been in some pilots that never made it, you know.
Right.
One for NBC, one for ABC that never made it. I've been in a lot of independent movies. There's a movie that's just coming out after 10 years. Matter of fact, I just emailed the guy the other day called Fight the Panda Syndicate. It was shot over like 2 years. It had 400 extras, and if the wrestler King Kong Bundy, who just passed away last year, was in it. And finally, they got everybody to sign off on the waiver, and they're trying to now distribute it in LA, supposedly. So, and I had fun. I had fun with that. I had a lot of fun with it. I play an FBI agent, I believe in that. Yeah, it's 10 years already. Yeah, FBI agent. Yeah.
You was also, there was one more movie, I believe, Imitate the Sun, from a guy from New Jersey.
Was
it Imitate the Sun?
Yeah, that was a small little thing. Yeah.
Little part. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's this. I've been in a whole slew of little movies and stuff. Independent stuff where I get paid $150, $200 for the day. That's fine. I don't step out of my house for under $100 anymore.
Another thing that we were laughing at when we was researching you. Because Mike Wagner is a great friend of mine, and I watch his shows, and you popped up, and we started listening to your interviews for a sec there, and you said something real funny. When me and my co-host started laughing, you said something like, you was talking to Mike. You were saying, 6-pack. Yeah, you was like, 6-pack.
That
6-pack, 2-pack. That guy.
That guy. Yeah.
I said he meant Tupac. He said
Tupac,
6-pack, 2-pack, 4-pack.
Well,
none.
you know what? I actually have a friend of mine.
None.
I actually have a friend of mine that looks like Tupac.
Really?
He plays him he's played him a couple of times. He's been out to Vegas a couple of times. Yeah, he looks just like him. And his name is Rich Garcia, actually from Jersey City, New Jersey. And he looks just like him.
He's Latin?
Yeah, just look up on Facebook, Rich Garcia.
Rich Garcia.
Yeah, he's in Jersey City, New Jersey. He looks just like him.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's played him in a couple of things already.
Okay.
He's really a funny guy. But anyway, I just have fun with everything I do, man. If you listen to my interviews with Mike, I've been on a lot of podcast interviews all over the country.
Nice.
Mike and I met through another guy who used to be our PR guy, who we unfortunately don't speak to anymore. And Mike and I have become friends, and he's a great guy, and he's got a good show. Yes, and I brought people to him already, and we just have we became good friends, and I give him advice sometimes about certain things, not even about like shows, just personal stuff.
Yeah, friend, boy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need to bounce off somebody something, and I'm a little older, and with age comes wisdom, hopefully.
Yes, and
experience.
So
and experience. Hey, I've made mistakes in my life, but if I can save somebody else from making that same mistake,
Yeah, why not help them out? That's right. That's what friends are for, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Mike is a great guy. I met him as well too. He was recommended. Someone for
me.
They
also did a music video called "Lost Ones" with a girl rapper from New Jersey, Moni Neo. And get this, it's called Pussy Power.
Okay.
She actually wears a shirt. She's actually wearing a shirt that says that in the video. And what do I play? A police officer. Well, in a lot of stuff I've done, I'm either a police officer or a mobster for some reason, which is fine with me. I don't care. Right. As long as I get paid.
Right. I hear you. I hear you 100%. So where'd you get the name G-Man? Was that from the movie, from the video Judge? No,
that's a tribute to my dad.
Oh, G-Man. Okay.
Who passed away the day of 9/11. It didn't have anything to do with 9/11. And I was extremely close to him. And it's kind of a tribute to him.
Okay.
Great. So and I was very, very close to him. And I miss him every day since. He was just a great father, a great person. And I know him a lot like him. So he was a quiet man, but he had a big heart. My mom was outgoing, very outgoing. And I always tell people I got her personality and his big heart. So that's a good thing.
That's
Yes.
like you and I are the same. I have my father's big heart and my mother's
Yeah.
wild side. And my
You know,
mother's
and,
wild side.
well, the funny thing is, if somebody told me when I graduated high school 50 years ago that I would be an entertainer now, I wouldn't have believed it because I was a very quiet kid.
Mm,
I really only talked to my friends. The kids in school knew me, but I didn't say a whole lot to a lot of people. Um, I came out of my shell little by little. I think I matured a little, which boys do. They mature a little later than girls anyway.
yes.
But at
Tell me
21,
about it.
but what helped me was at 21, from 18 to 21, I kind of bounced around a few jobs and didn't know what I wanted to do and couldn't find myself a little bit. And then I got a job with a company that um, the people believed in me. And I liked working there. I stayed there 25 years till they shut the doors.
Wow.
And I started the very lowest position in the company. And I was third highest to the top when they closed.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. And a lot of people thought I was going to be the boss one day because they did everything in the place. There was 85 employees. 60 of us were there more than 20 years.
Wow.
So they treated their employees pretty good.
What a commitment. Yeah.
Yeah. And they believed in me. I pushed and shoved and worked my way to third highest to the top. The only thing I didn't do was general manager and controller. I did every job in the place, including changing light bulbs, changing air conditioners on the roof. I did, you name it, I did it. Anything that the boss wanted me to do, I did it. Nothing was below me, you know.
Wow.
And I treated everybody with respect, no matter what job I did. And I got a lot of things done because I treated everybody the same. No matter
Right.
what job I did or how much money I made or what I wore, shirt and tie at the end, I treated everybody just like they were right alongside of me, you know. And I got a lot of respect for that, you know.
You're a man with all trades.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went through
That's
a rough
good.
time.
And that's
I went
good. You
through a
need to you need, us men need to learn a lot.
well, it was a rough time for me after that when they closed because that was pretty much from 21 to 45. And then I went through a dark period in my life for a little bit, and then I came out of it. You can't keep yourself down too long. You find out you're a survivor. You
That's
know,
right. That's
you
right.
have dark periods or life where you're not sure what's going on in your life. I went through a divorce. I was in a bad car accident. Um, I had to move back with my mom and dad at the age of 45. Wasn't easy, believe me. But I got through it, and I moved on and started my acting career. And that's, you know, I just when I go on it, when I apply for a part, when most of my parts now I get on Craigslist or somewhere, I look around and I try to find these independent movies, people doing things. And when I'm on the set, I tell you, everybody knows me. Everybody on the set of Little TJ's video knew me by the end of the day.
Mhm.
I give out my cards. I talk to people.
Right.
And one of the young people on the set that day actually said to me, "Why are you giving out cards for?" And I said, "Let me ask you a question. I was a salesman on the road. That's where I retired from um, 5 years ago. And I said, let me ask you a question. Um, if they're making a music video or a commercial, who are their friends? People that do the same thing, right?" And that guy said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. If they're at a bar one night and they say, we're looking for an older guy, with gray hair, looks like a mobster or a cop, who do you think they're going to remember? They're going to remember me because I gave them a card. Somebody might have my card, but
Right.
if they ask for a younger guy, and they go, oh, yeah, we had a younger guy on the set. We don't remember his name. We don't know who he was. Can it happen? Yes. Will it
Yeah.
happen? I have no idea, but I got a better shot with a card than you do without a card. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
That's right.
Right.
That's
Right.
promoting yourself, promoting your brand, promoting who you are and what you do.
Right.
That anyone that's in this industry knows that,
Listen, I go into the city and I go on New Jersey Transit and I go on a New York subway system. I can't tell you how many New Jersey Transit cars have the BS show cards on them and how many subways have them on it. Because when I go in that subway, card comes out. If Steph and I go downtown New York, if somebody's looking at us, say, hey, what do you guys, we have hats, we have shirts, we have sweatshirts. What do you guys do? Oh, we have a podcast. Boom, card comes out. We stop and there's a place where we stop and get bagels. and butter in the morning, and
Right.
we're always giving out cards. Even the workers have them. They know us now because we go there almost every Wednesday.
Right.
And we're giving the cards out left and right. You know, that's called networking. Network. Listen. We both bought 500 cards. We didn't get them to sit in a drawer. We gave them to give out.
That's right.
There's quick checks here, or there's Wawas, and if they have a bulletin board, one gets tacked up if I'm in there.
Right.
Okay. Hey, what's the worst they can do? Throw it out? Who cares? I got 400 and whatever more of them. Who gives a damn?
Right.
So I always have cards in my pocket. Always. Always. Always.
You prepared.
Well, you don't know who you're talking to. Listen, when I drove for Lyft in 3 years, I did about almost 3,000 rides. Okay. I would say half of my people in my car got rides, got cards, because I don't know who they know. You never know who they're going to talk to. I didn't have the podcast then, but I had my acting cards, and I don't know who they're talking to. Hey, I'm an actor. I did this. I did that. A few things. Oh yeah, you got a card? Boom. So hey, maybe they threw it out. Maybe they showed it to somebody. Maybe they looked at my resume. I don't know.
Right.
But hey, I didn't buy these cards to sit here in a drawer. So
I get it.
Because I was an outside salesman, I think I network myself better than a lot of people. And I'm not afraid to network. I'm not afraid to talk to people.
Right.
Steph knows that. My partner knows that I don't shut up sometimes.
Well, that's good that you're people's people. You need someone like that, in a team. If you're a quiet person, you got someone that's a people's people.
Well, he can talk. He can talk too, but he can talk too, but I can out talk. It depends on what we're talking about. He's a big political theorist, and I'm more of kind of low key, but I can talk to people too.
Right.
So as you see, you're not asking me a lot of questions. I'm kind of just all you got to do is lead me a little bit, and I'll do the rest pretty much.
No, that's it. I love it. I love it.
Is that what I do? That you answering our questions, which is good either way, because that'll let the fans see who you are.
Yeah. And your story.
Yeah. I just have fun with everything, and I got another story to tell you about a commercial I was in. I was in an AT&T commercial.
Yeah, you did a phone commercial. I was just about to ask you that where you was at the door and the lady opened the door and you smiled.
Yeah, that was for AT&T came out with a commercial for a Conserva phone for construction workers and policemen and delivery men. And an agent called me and said, "Hey, would you do this?" I have a few agents that once in a blue moon they call me. Would you do this commercial in Princeton, which is about 20 minutes from my house? And I said, "Yeah, sure." And they go, "Well, it pays like $300 for 1 hour." I said, "I'd be glad to do it." And they had it down exactly to an hour.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Not an hour and 1 minute. It was exactly an hour.
Wow.
Hey, I wasn't complaining. I came home after my agent's fee, I came home with $240 for that 1 hour.
That's not
I
bad.
wasn't complaining.
An hour?
No.
Yeah.
That was hello. They need another one so we can go and make it,
Well, here's what happened. About 2 weeks later, they called me up and they go, "Listen, would you come into the city for a Big and Tall Man catalog?" I said, "Okay." So I go in again. Again, it pays $300 an hour. Again, it's only 1 hour, but here's the reason why they brought me in. They brought anybody over 6 feet. They brought like 5 or 6 guys in. There was a guy actually 6'6". They had trouble with their glove sizes, and I have pretty good sized hands. I don't know if you can see how big this hand is, but it's pretty big.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I got a size 13 ring for my regular ring, ring finger.
Wow.
So so I had bigger hands than anybody in the place. We were trying on gloves for an hour. They wanted to see because the gloves the year before, the catalog, apparently the sizes were messed up, and they got a lot of returns. They were trying to stop their returns from coming back for the Big and Tall Man. So hey, again, I got $240 for that 1 hour after my agency fee. You think I was complaining? No way. I kept telling her, "Get me some more."
Yeah, that's right.
And I hadn't heard from her in about 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden she found me in her file somewhere, which I wasn't complaining about. So that was a pretty cool commercial too. Yeah.
We would love to. I would like to see Mr. Wagner in the movie doing maybe a scene of a podcast scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
where him doing his live show and get him in the film. You know, like Mr. Mike Wagner. You know,
Yeah, Mike's a good guy. Mike's a good guy. I always talk him up to a lot of people, and we're good friends now. We also have a good friend in Texas that we became friends with who does podcasts also. I've been on many podcast shows. I've been on. Let's see, I got a list actually. I brought a list here actually.
Okay.
I've been on this guy Jeff and Janky in California, Lester Green in Atlanta, Georgia, Rebecca Mahan, that's our friend in Texas, Dennis Worth in Boston, Joe Kozo in Long Island, Jeff Fiedelberg in California. Those are some of the podcasts that I've been interviewed on. And Mike's show I've been on twice. Twice by myself, once with Steph. Okay. And I think he's going to have us on again. You know, I've just been on so many shows. It's like second nature to me now. You know,
and you've been on the Don Vic show.
I've been on Don Vic show now.
That's IG. Okay.
So what comedian influenced you? Well, we heard you was compared to
Seinfeld.
Yes.
I love that. I love that show. That's top notch.
And comedian that I loved, an old time comedian, Buddy Hackett. Buddy Hackett told stories about things that happen and you know, some funny stories. And I'm compared to Seinfeld because I'm an observation comedian. I observe things that people don't pay attention to. You know, like GMC has a commercial that says their trucks are professional grade. What were they before? Unprofessional? You know? Or when somebody says it's the best, like I used to work for Ford. That was where I retired from, a Ford dealership. I sold parts and got municipality work in and medium duty truck work in. And I made a dealership in Jersey City, New Jersey, number 10 in the country. They got 6 awards in 3 years because of me. Wow. But anyway, so Ford used to have a commercial that said the Explorer, which I used to have one actually, I don't have one anymore, was the best-selling SUV on the planet. Do we sell SUVs on other planets? No. So I pick on all kind of
ones that I know of.
So I pick on commercials like that all the time, you know.
That's awesome.
You know. So but Buddy Hackett used to tell stories about different things, and you know, I'll tell you one of his stories, and I borrowed this from him, and this is the way he told it. This was on Johnny Carson somewhere back in the 80s, maybe. This was a story he told about this guy goes duck hunting, and he shoots down a duck, and it lands on a barn, and he goes to get it, and a farmer comes out, says, "Where do you think you're going?" He said, "I'm going to get my duck." And the farmer says, wait a minute, that duck landed on my barn, it's mine now. The guy says, "You're nuts, I shot it down." So the farmer says, "Let me ask you a question, where are you from?" He said, "Well, I'm from the city." The farmer says, "Listen, you don't know country rules. Country rules, if you shoot something down and it lands on my property, it's mine." So the guy said, "Listen, I've been out here like 6 days. It's the only thing I shot down. I got to go back with something." And the farmer said, "Listen, I don't care if you've been out here 6 months. That duck is mine now." So they're going back and forth for like 45 minutes. And the farmer says, "You know, you don't seem like a bad guy. I tell you what, we'll sell it as country style." And the guy said, "What do you mean country style?" He said, "Well, I kick you in the nuts, you kick me in the nuts. Who's ever left standing, that's whose duck it'll be." Well, the guy says, "Listen, you know, that sounds a little painful to me, but if that's what I got to do to get my duck, let's go." So the farmer says, "I go first." And he kicks him as hard as he can. And the guy's rolling on the floor for like a half hour. "Oh my God, I'm never using my nuts again. Oh my God. Oh my God." And he finally gets to his feet and he goes, "I guess it's my turn, huh?" And the farmer says, "Now you can have the freaking duck."
He kicked him in the
Woo-wee. So that was one of Buddy Hackett's story that I think was hysterical. It's hysterical. And when he told that Johnny Carson almost fell off his seat. I'm telling you, you know.
That was good.
He told a lot of stories like that. And I'll tell another joke that's one of my favorite jokes, although it wasn't Buddy Hackett's, although I just like this joke. These three guys play golf every Friday for 10 years. And they come home one Friday and their wives say, "Hey guys, we booked a 2-week vacation for you." And they go, "Where?" "Myrtle Beach, South Carolina."
Ooh.
All right. We're going to play golf. The women say, "Whoa, while we're down there, you can't play golf." They go, "What are you, nuts? That's the golf capital of the world, really. That's where everybody goes to play golf. If you play golf while we're down there, we're coming back on the next flight. We don't care what it costs you." So the guy said, "Hey, listen, guys, we're gonna get away. We're gonna go anyway. We're gonna get away for 2 weeks anyway." So hold on a second. Hold on. So they go, and after the first week, they say, "Listen, guys." Comes Monday, second Monday, they go, "Listen, guys, we're gonna book a 9 o'clock tee time Friday. Right now, we're playing golf next Friday." So they book a 9 o'clock tee time, and Friday comes, and the three of them show up. And the first guy says, so they're talking about themselves. "How'd you get here? How'd you get here? How'd you?" And the first guy says, "I was smart. I bought my wife a full-length mink coat." She said, "Okay, you can go play golf." And the second guy said, "I did better than you. I bought my wife a brand new Porsche Carrera 911 convertible."
Ooh.
She said, "I can go play golf." The third guy said, "You know what? You're both stupid." They go, "What are you talking about?" So last night, I told my wife, intercourse, a golf course. She said, "Go play 18 holes."
Okay. Woo. That was good.
So those are two really good jokes I tell. I like to tell those jokes. So, that wasn't Buddy Hackett. That's just somebody told me that joke. I liked it and stuck with me, But I know so many jokes about so many people. It's just ridiculous. And, I can tell jokes about any ethnic group. You can stereotype anybody. And before COVID, I was putting together with a black gentleman.
Somebody's beeping the horn at you outside.
Somebody's trying to get a hold of me. Yeah, but that's okay. I'll get them later. So it was going to be called the Unpolitically Correct Comedy Duo. And he was going to be Frank White, and I was going to be Willie Black.
Ooh.
And it was going to be a banter between the two of us, how we see things differently by races. I think All the Family and Sanford and Son and Good Times, they were very, very funny shows. They were right on the edge.
Yes.
But they were funny shows. And now you can't say boo to anybody now, And so I wrote all the bits. And we had a guy who was going to get us into Atlantic City, New Jersey, in the lounge because he liked our humor. And one of the bits was, I'm Jewish. So he asked me, I wrote all the bits, and this is one of the bits. He asked me, as a Jewish guy, what do you do on Christmas Day? And I said, well, most Jews go to the movies and have Chinese food. And what do you do as a black man? Well, while you're eating Chinese and going to the movies, we're robbing your house.
Very explicit.
So we were, but it was going to be, we were going to have a disclaimer that said, if ethical humor bothers you, you better leave now, because that's what it's going to be,
Right.
And I wrote about 8 or 9, maybe 10 bits, about how we see things different, or like he asked, there was one bit where he asked me what my brothers and sisters' name were, and I say Bob and Frank, and how about yours? Shaniqua, Shanaqua, Jaquana, So it was just, we were still all meant in fun, it wasn't meant to hurt. Listen, comedy is meant to take you away from the real world for whatever amount of time that you're doing a comedy bit, and you shouldn't take offense to anything that's said, because it's not meant to offend you. It's meant in jest. And everyday life is funny, period.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And who won't want to laugh? I mean,
yeah.
Laugh. I love laughing. It's
listen,
good energy.
You can stereotype any ethnic group. Okay. I even tell Jewish jokes. Here's one. Here's one, for example. What do you call 40 Jewish women in the basement?
40 Jewish women in the basement?
Yeah. Ready?
I don't know. What do you
I don't know if I'm ready for this one, but yeah.
A wine cellar. A wine cellar.
Because they're wine cellars.
How about, why can't you keep Jews in jail?
They can't keep what? Jews in jail?
Jews in jail. Yeah.
Because they run it.
Because they eat lox.
Lox. Oh.
Listen, I can tell jokes about anybody. I can tell jokes about. Listen, here's one about Mexicans. Why is the grass so high in Mexico?
Why it grows so high in Mexico?
Why is the grass so high in Mexico?
Why is the grass so high? So they can't climb over?
No, because they're all here cutting grass. You know, I got, you could make, listen, you could stereotype any group. I mean, it's right. It's just meant to be funny,
Right.
You can stereotype anybody, but a lot of it's not true though. It's just jokes, and jokes are funny, I mean, I know a lot of Polish jokes. That's, blonde jokes, Polish jokes, I got a few about you guys too, but I won't tell them.
you can tell them. We don't take it offended. We love jokes.
No, some of them are not too nice. No, I won't do them. But no, it's just funny, So you got to have fun with it. You know what I mean? You can't take offense to it.
Right.
It's
comedy. People understand that.
As some people don't though these days.
Yeah, some. Was he talking about me?
Was that offensive?
This goes back about 4 or 5 years ago. I was in a bowling alley. I used to bowl, but I stopped bowling now. But I used to bowl a pretty good bowler. And so I went to bowling alley with a friend of mine. And there's a Indian guy here. There's an Indian population not too far from where I live, and they were in a bowling alley. And this guy was Indian guy had a Jerry Rice jersey on. So I said, he can't have that. He's got to have rice and curry on the back. He can't just have rice. So my buddy said, watch this. This guy's going to punch you when you go up there and tell him that. Well, I told this Indian kid this, and he was hysterical. You got to have rice and curry on your back. You just can't have rice. And he was hysterical. He thought it was the funniest thing he ever heard in his life. Which I said, listen, either he's going to punch me out, which he's not going to probably do. I'm a pretty big sized guy. But I said, or he's going to get mad at me. He's going to laugh at me or get mad at me. One of the two. What's the difference? So he laughed at me. He thought it was funny, And even with Steph, sometimes I see somebody. I have this thing when I see somebody in the city with a bad haircut. I walk up to them and I say, hey, where'd you get your haircut? And they go, why? I said, where'd you get your haircut? And they tell me like Joe's barbershop. I'm good because I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
That's me.
So I'm just having fun. And most people laugh, they know I'm joking around. A few people go, oh, really? You're making fun of my haircut. But I'm really joking around, really, I just like having fun. I just do. So, everything I do, I have fun with. I enjoy it. I think more people laughed at things and weren't so serious, we'd have a better world. But unfortunately, we don't.
Right. So what are you working on right now, just present day?
So right now, I'm doing with Stefan the G-Man, the podcast, and I'm hopefully going to have my script, the trailer made for it. That's my big thing right now. And something just came up actually last week before you even schedule. Right after we schedule this, there's a show called 5 Guys a Week in England, and they're bringing it to New York, tri-state area. I saw an ad on, I don't know if it was Facebook, Craigslist. I don't remember where I saw this. They were looking for, I'm divorced, so they're looking for people who are looking for dates and having trouble finding dates. And this thing is similar to Bachelor or Bachelorette, whatever. I never watched that stuff.
I've seen it on Facebook.
Yeah.
They were looking for people. They were looking for, people to join.
Right. So I sent them an email. What about older people over 50? And they sent me back this thing that said, oh, we're putting a show together. Would you be interested in it? And how old are you? And I told them how old I was, and I'd be interested because I've been off and on seeing people, but nothing special right now. And they said, okay, we'll put your name in. And then about a week later, they said, you're going to get a Zoom call from us. We want to film you and test you out. We're going to ask you some questions and why you're single, why you think you can't meet the right person. And so far, I made it through the first 3 stages. There's 5 stages. And if I make it through the next 2 stages, then I'll probably be on the show. So
awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Well, only because I went after them and said, hey, how about older people? And they found, oh, yeah, we're putting together the show. And it's all over England. It's in its like 3rd or 4th season in England. And they're bringing it to the United States now. And it's produced by Fremantle Production Company or something. It's a legitimate thing. I checked it out. It's a legitimate thing. So it's not crap. As a matter of fact, I spoke to the producer Friday night, actually. So pretty cool.
If you do, just make sure you get 2 more dates, one for me.
Well, here's the thing. It depending on how many days you're on the show, depending on how much you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
So much a day, and you can get knocked off the first day, the second day, whatever. So it's similar to the Bachelor or Bachelorette. They put you up in a hotel, and you spend, I think, 1 night or 2 nights with this lady or something like that. I don't know. And as I get more into it, but so far I made it through the first 3 stages, and so let's see what happens. I could be picked. I don't know. So that could be interesting too.
And where's the show going to air?
It's going to air, I assume, in New York somewhere on one of the cable stations, probably that would probably shown all over the country. Probably, I don't know. That's up in the air yet, but I think it's going to be on one of the cable stations, like Bravo or something like that, or A&E, one of those stations. They carry all that reality stuff, which I don't watch any of it. I don't even watch American Got Talent even. So, I got enough talent. I don't need to watch anybody else.
I got my own talent.
Right. No, but I mean, I know it's got people trying to make it, and I have friends that are amateur musicians that are pretty good too. They're local people, and I follow them sometimes, Right. So I just have fun with everything I do, and I try to tell people that, just try to enjoy life a little bit,
Right.
I've had some ups and downs, but I've weathered them, so
right.
It's part of life. Life's not always smooth.
It's not. Well, we enjoy having you on the show.
Well, I'm a nut job. You can have me on anytime you want.
Yes, we're definitely going to bring you back and talk.
And I will also turn some people on to you guys too. So
thank you. We'll appreciate that. We appreciate it.
I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed talking to you guys, and I said, you didn't have to leave me too far. Once you give me a little leash, I'll go the rest of the way.
No, but that's fine. That's what we want. We want you to tell the story.
Yep. I got plenty of stories and plenty of jokes.
So yeah, we're definitely going to bring you back in a couple months and see where you at, and see if you done did some more comedy and stuff, and we'll bring you.
Cool.
Talk about that.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
And
had a great time.
Yes, thank you so much. And
all right,
we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy it. Thank you.
Good night. Yes. That's Allen Gitlin. Great guy, as you guys can see. He's a people's people. You can tell that.
And funny guy.
Yeah,
definitely. I couldn't wait. I wanted to know what joke he had about us.
Oh yeah, that's the joke. That's the joke we wanted to see, right?
So next time you
got to give us the Latin joke. Yeah. Next time you got to give us the Latin joke. I know it was itching in him. And he was holding it in. He was like, "Nah, I don't want to go there." But this is what this show is all about, ladies, gals, and guys. It's about bringing people here with great energy and great stories, and talk about their career and how good it's going in their life, and actually connecting with other podcasters and other actors and directors and authors, all types of people, rappers, because we have everybody with those type of contents on our show. Everybody comes on the show, and this is what this show is all about. Everybody's welcome on our show. And everybody get to shine on the Don Vic Show with co-host IG. You know what I mean? That's what we do. But we definitely enjoy Mr. Allen Gitlin coming on the show. Want to thank Mr. Mike Wagner for
thank you, Mike.
Yes, for sending them our way. We appreciate that. Great guy, Mike. And tune in next week. Next week we have the paranormal team all the way from the UK coming on the show. Carnish Ghost Whispers with Candy Candice, her husband Nick, and her mom Colin will be on the show. They were on the show a few months back, and we're bringing them back on the show because they've been doing some amazing thing on their channel. They've been catching a lot of evidence of the paranormal on their cameras, and we're going to talk about them and see what type of experience they've been going through, with citing these ghosts, these spirits, and it's a very interesting content. You know what I mean? I love paranormal stuff, just like I like the Bigfoot stuff.
Oh yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's another kind that I want to get into. So if anyone out there knows anything about Bigfoot or know anyone that's got a podcast or a show about Bigfoot, make sure they reach out to us, man. We want to have them on the show and ask them some questions that we want. See if they can answer some of the questions we have.
Yeah, we gotta know about Bigfoot besides his Bigfoot. You know, you gotta know about the ones out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, facts. So, if anyone knows anyone, please send them our way. We'll gladly have them on the show. That's an interesting topic. I would love to talk about Bigfoot because I've always been a fan of Bigfoot since I was a kid. And we got so many stories.
I had an uncle. They used to call him Bigfoot. But my uncle was like 7 feet something. I used to look at him.
Oh yeah. He was a giant.
He was a giant, so
yeah,
that's the closest I got to it.
Yeah. So, people, we want to thank everybody for watching, for coming on the show. We'll see y'all next week with the paranormal team all the way from the UK. Big shout out to London. Big shout out to Africa, California, Israel, Germany, Nigeria. Listen, everybody that supports us, Australia, New Zealand, England, man, everywhere around the world, I support the Don Big Show. Thank you so much. And tune in next week. And don't forget, March 26th, we'll be at the Celebrity Boxing with artist Flavor Flav will be in the building. Recording artist Tretch from Naughty by Nature will be in the building. What was his name? I'll Be Sure will be in the building fighting my brother
Hazel
Roche. Young CEO will be fighting Mike Mazza. Ziggy Johnson, MMA fighter and knuckle fighter, will be in the building, along with Ryan Delchin, comedian, will be in the building as well.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
Among other people, and your best talk show host, Don Vic and IG will be in the building.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And big shout out to my son Stax. He got the show coming out, Stax in the City. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. He's putting together a show, and it's going to be amazing. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Other than that, big shout out to Mike Wagner, everybody out there, and we'll see you guys soon. See y'all next week. Thank you everyone for watching. It's your boy Don Vic from the Don Vic Show.
I'm your co-host IG.
And remember that share, because sharing is caring.
Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Go to YouTube to the Don Big Show. Subscribe one time. You get the notification. Or go on my page on the co-host IG on the Don Big Show on Facebook. Show the love, show the support like you always do. That's what we're all about. Collaboration. Reach out.
So thank you guys for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yes, sir.
We out of here.
We be out with peace, love, respect.